there's one thing that Stan Lee is known for outside of creating memorable superheroes, it's his cameos. But did you know that his cameos extended outside of his Marvel appearances? Well, today we're gonna dive into some of those cameos as Stan Lee presents, have you seen these 10 Stan Lee TV cameos outside of the Marvel Universe? Let's go. Number 10, Heroes. Season 1, Episode 16. In Episode 16 of the very first season of the appropriately named Heroes television show, which aired back in 2007, we follow the character Hiro in the middle of his journey. Faced with the harsh reality that his very existence puts people around him in harm's way, he decides to leave his companion and continue his journey alone. He bids farewell to his friend and gets ready to board his bus, only to be greeted by none other than Stan the Man himself as the bus driver. I can't get over the fact that Stan actually made an appearance in a show named Heroes. That's kind of funny to me. I don't know why. Number 9, The Simpsons, Season 28, Episode 19. With over 30 seasons under its belt and a slew of cameo appearances from names big and small, The Simpsons would of course have a Stan Lee cameo. In Season 28, Episode 19, titled The Caper Chase, which aired in 2017, the couch gag for this episode features an X-Men theme, so it was appropriate to have Stan Lee make a quick cameo appearance to celebrate. This gag and cameo was extremely short, with Stan even poking fun at it by saying,
"There's nothing too short that I can't cameo."
Number 8, Muppet Babies, Season 6, Episode 6. Continuing on with shows pulling from superhero themes, we find ourselves covering the Muppet Babies. Yes, there was an animated show called The Muppet Babies. I'm sure a lot of you probably didn't know that, but here it is. In Season 6, Episode 6, The Comic Capers, airing back in 1989, that's even before I was born, honestly. Anyway, the Muppets read some comic books and even venture into these comic worlds, which leads to some fun guest appearances by familiar, heroic faces such as the Hulk and Spider-Man. The Muppets then suit up as Spider-Man themselves and cause a bit of trouble, shooting web straight out of the pages of the comic and on to Stan Lee. Suffice to say that Stan Lee was not too pleased by the trouble the Muppet Babies had caused. Number 7, Nikita, Season 1, Episode 5. Even ex-assassin Nikita Mears isn't immune to the Stan Lee cameo effect. The episode in focus is Season 1, Episode 5, The Guardian, which aired back in 2010. It involves a fugitive on the run. Stan Lee plays a bystander in this episode who witnessed the fugitive's escape. Stan's character makes an appearance on the news, and in a nod to Stan Lee's superhero background, his character mentions that
bugger moved so fast, it was like he was a superhero or something.
But what superhero are we talking about, Stan? Are we talking about Quicksilver? Bakari? Number 6, Robot Chicken, Season 6, Episode 1. Stan has made multiple appearances on Robot Chicken, and some were kind of risque, given the type of show Robot Chicken is, but the one we're talking about today is his little cameo in Season 6, Episode 1, executed by the state. In this little skit, we have multiple Marvel superheroes chanting their catchphrases to create a song, with Stan Lee ending the song with "Excelsior!" and giving the audience an important lesson in branding. It's short and quick, but Stan has a point. His character branding really is important. Number 5, Chuck, Season 5, Episode 7. Instead of assassins like Nikita Mears, we find ourselves in the world of spies from the television series Chuck. In the Season 5 episode Chuck vs. the Santa Suit, Stan Lee plays a spy from Los Angeles attending a small Christmas party for the spy organization that Chuck's part of. When our titular character Chuck and his superior in the organization, Diane, run into Stan Lee at the party, Stan takes a chance and hits on Diane with a mistletoe, only to be outright rejected. He doesn't take this too well and bitterly walks off after his failed attempt. And personally, I don't think Stan would ever be this angry in real life, but he definitely played the role well. Number 4, The Simpsons, Season 25, Episode 10. Oh, did I mention Stan Lee had multiple cameo appearances in The Simpsons? Oh, I didn't? Well, outside of a Season 28 cameo, Stan Lee also appears in the Season 25 episode Married to the Blob. In this episode, Comic Book Guy is in a bit of a dilemma, facing loneliness due to his girlfriend Strawberry marrying his competition Milo. In the middle of Comic Book Guy's crisis, Stan Lee shows up in Comic Book Guy's imaginations, advising him that he has a potential second shot at love. However, similar to the Watcher character, Stan Lee can only watch and cannot interfere, or so he says. But Stan's prophecy comes true. A Japanese girl named Kumiko enters the store, and Stan tells Comic Book Guy not to let the opportunity go to waste. He doesn't, and Stan himself ends up officiating their wedding. Number 3, Fresh Off the Boat, Season 3, Episode 21. Pie vs. Cake. the great debate. However, we're not here for that. We're here for Stan Lee. In this Season 3 episode of the TV series Fresh Off the Boat, Stan Lee makes a last-minute appearance in the closing minutes of the episode, looking through comic submissions. For context, early in the episode, Eddie and his brother Emery decide to take part in a comic book contest. By the end of the episode, Eddie and Emery's comic lands on Stan's desk, and he praises the comic by saying that,
This is what I've been looking for.
in the sea of comics, sometimes being just a little different pays off. Number 2, The Big Bang Theory, Season 3, Episode 16. What happens when Stan Lee meets a superfan of his? Well, unintended trespassing, that's what. In the Season 3 episode of The Big Bang Theory, titled The Excelsior Acquisition, Sheldon, who is a Stan Lee fan, has an opportunity to meet Stan at a book signing, but misses it due to a court appearance, resulting from the red light he ran racing Penny to the hospital several episodes back. Penny obviously feels bad about it and brings Sheldon to Stan Lee's house. Turns out, Stan Lee had no idea, and he's angry that they visited unprompted. He gets even angrier that Sheldon entered his abode and proceeds to call the cops on him to get a restraining order. And yes, Stan Lee plays himself in this episode. Fun fact, Stan had an image of him on the couch with a cast in his office for several years. So it's funny how angry he got in this episode, because you know damn well he definitely wasn't this angry in real life. And number 1, The Simpsons, Season 13, Episode 18. And last but not least, we have another Stan Lee cameo appearance in The Simpsons. Like I said, 30 plus seasons, of course he would have multiple cameo appearances. Anyway, in the Season 13 episode, I Am Furious Yellow, Bart draws a comic book strip and has Comic Book Guy critique it. After Comic Book Guy calls the strip lame, Stan Lee walks in to give his 2 cents. While at first he seems to praise Bart's talent, Stan then doubles back and admits that the comic strip was a little stinky. But he doesn't stop there. He turns the situation around and says that Bart's just starting to find his voice and that he should keep trying. Personally, this is one of my favorite appearances because it's very inspiring and down to earth and delivers a great message to aspiring artists. Wait, the cameo isn't over? Right. Well, it turns out for the rest of the episode, Stan Lee stays at Comic Book Guy's shop, like trying to convince a kid to buy a Thing figure instead of a Batman figure for the kid's Batmobile toy, and, breaking the toy trying to fit the Thing in it, or pretending to be the Hulk and trying to transform. Yes, Stan Lee did a lot for this appearance, and don't quote me on this, but this has to be his longest cameo appearance to date, right? Someone comment down below and fact check me, please. And that wraps up, have you seen these 10 Stan Lee TV cameos outside of the Marvel Universe? How many have you seen? Do you have any favorites or any that you know of that weren't on the list? Let us know in the comments below. That's it for this episode of Stan Lee Presents
Excelsior!